Tonight on One News, Volodymyr Zelensky digs in his heels just as the White House considers inviting him to its peace talks with Russia, while the Ukrainian leader's comments risk angering Donald Trump. Chaos on the streets of London. A record number of arrests, why these protesters are rallying for a group labelled a terrorist organisation by the UK government. Plus,
it's a bit like Stress City on board, I can tell you.
The yachting world is in mourning after world champion sailor and one of the voices of the America's Cup, Peter Lester, dies, aged 70. Tēnā tātou katoa I tēnei pō. Welcome to One News Tonight. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has stressed his country won't concede any land to Russia ahead of a potentially significant week for his nation. Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin will meet to discuss ending the war, with the US President suggesting Kyiv may have to hand over land to Russia in exchange for peace. Russia currently occupies about 20% of Ukraine. It annexed Crimea in 2014. It's now captured almost all of Luhansk, most of Donetsk, and significant parts of Zaporizhia and Kherson, while Ukraine says it still holds a small part of Russia's Kursk region, which it captured in a surprise offensive last year. With the latest, here's US correspondent Logan Church.
As the fight for territory in Ukraine continues, Volodymyr Zelensky says his country will give absolutely nothing to Russia.
Ukrainians will not give their land to the occupier.
This despite Trump saying this was a key part of his negotiating strategy to end the war.
There'll be some swapping of territories to the betterment of both.
Russia controls about 20% of Ukrainian territory, including the Crimea Peninsula it seized in 2014. Zelensky and much of the West have been concerned that if they give an inch, Russia will take a mile. And at the very least, any negotiation has to include Ukraine's leaders.
President Trump announced preparations for his meeting with Putin in Alaska, very far away from this war, which is raging on our land, against our people, and which anyway can't be ended without us, without Ukraine.
On the streets of Kyiv, Ukrainians are not impressed.
No soldier will agree to surrender territory or withdraw troops from Ukrainian territory. I think all these flags were not installed here in vain. They symbolise the lives given for Ukrainian land and for every family.
Regardless of how Zelensky feels about a potential land swap deal, he might not end up having any choice. Donald Trump holds tremendous leverage over Ukraine, as America is its largest overseas supplier of weapons essential for its defense. President Trump has previously turned that tap off when he felt Zelensky wasn't doing everything he could to end the war, and pulled the pin on a proposed mineral deal. Meanwhile, Russia's state media is previewing next week's meeting, quoting the Kremlin, which says the Alaska location is logical, given it borders Russia's eastern coastline. The focus, the Kremlin says, will be on coming up with a long-term solution for what it calls the Ukraine crisis. Meanwhile, the war drags on, and the casualties continue to mount. Everyone says they want peace. Their view of what that peace is, though, is wildly different. Logan Church, One News, New York.
Turkey is the latest country to condemn Israel's planned Gaza City takeover, calling on all Muslim countries to unite as international outrage mounts. Thousands of demonstrators took to the streets of Istanbul, waving Palestinian flags, protesting the move. This as explosions were seen in the skyline of the occupied Gaza Strip following Israel's announcement to expand its military operations there. And during a heated rally in London, 466 people have been arrested for supporting a pro-Palestine group designated as a terrorist organisation by the UK government. The operation testing resources, with police apprehending the largest number of people in a single day in at least a decade. Protesters calling the government's move authoritarian. Europe correspondent Kate Nicholl-Williams reports.
Chaos outside the UK halls of power as police pluck out protesters one by one. Some go quietly, others object to the very end.
Arrest the people that are selling arms, that are bombing, killing.
All showing their support for the group Palestine Action with signs, which is a crime under the Terrorism Act.
I hadn't even heard of them until a few weeks ago, but the fact is they are not terrorists, and it's the precedent it sets.
The group was prescribed by the government last month after activists allegedly broke into an Air Force base and vandalised 2 planes. The UK government says the group put the country's security at risk. This New Zealander, who now lives in Birmingham, disagrees.
That's not terrorism. That's criminal damage. We've already got legislation that takes care of that.
The United Nations is calling on the government to bring its broad definition of terrorism in line with international standards and halt investigations into the nearly 700 people who've been arrested since the ban.
These people are willing to face a maximum sentence of up to 14 years in prison. That doesn't matter for them, such as their bold protest for Palestine Action being designated a terrorist organisation.
At a previous protest, this woman was arrested.
Terrorism laws shouldn't be used for ordinary people. It is outrageous.
London police were under pressure this weekend, responding to multiple protests, including this pro-Palestine march.
I want to see Palestine being free.
This is exactly what officers wanted to avoid. Protesters holding up a police van taking prisoners away and general traffic until an ambulance sounds its alarm. The government's terror ban testing police planning.
Ready, set, right! Shame on you!
Protesters vowing the next demonstration will be even bigger. Kate Nichol-Williams, One News, London.
And our coverage continues over on TVNZ Plus, where you'll find Kate's extended interview with a Kiwi taking part in today's action. Just head to the News tab on the left-hand side of your smart TV for this and the rest of the day's news. Back here, the Australian Prime Minister's wrapped up his fleeting formal visit to New Zealand, with the two nations working to streamline the way of doing business between our countries. Anthony Albanese and Christopher Luxon spent the morning in Arrowtown paying their respects to Anzac soldiers before taking a scenic flight to Glaciers in Queenstown. But economic growth was a key focus for the leaders.
The challenge within domestic Australia between the states, where there's often different regulatory requirements within states, and the point is we want it to be as frictionless as possible. We want the barnacles off the boat to go as quickly as we can for both countries that are trying to improve productivity.
The Prime Minister is hoping many of the issues will be ironed out at a high-level meeting in Canberra next month. An early morning fire that engulfed a former hospital in Hokitika is now under control. Several fire crews were called to the scene around 7 a.m, with smoke seen billowing across town. Fire and Emergency says the blaze is being treated as suspicious. Stewart Islanders are anxious about losing their air ambulance service as Health New Zealand says the current plane is too old. Islanders say it would leave them highly vulnerable, hoping their feedback prompts a rethink. Here's Sam Ollie with the latest from our regional health series.
This is the Britain Norman Islander, a plane used for over a decade to evacuate people from Rakiura to Invercargill for urgent hospital care. But Health New Zealand says it's outdated and unsuitable for future medical use.
You can't drive to the island, we can't get an ambulance. So this is our ambulance, and it's like, for us it feels like if somebody said, oh, you know, ambulances won't service this suburb anymore, you'd be like, oh no, you'd be pretty worried.
Shona Sangster says the planes retrofitted by Stewart Island Flights for emergency care have been a lifeline.
My dad was air ambulance to Kew Hospital a few years ago at Christmas time, and he had quite a serious infection developing.
There are normally 1 to 2 emergency flights per month.
We well know about the golden hour of trauma, things like life-threatening heart attacks, life-threatening strokes, where we can offer particular treatments if it's given within a certain time window, and that's often the challenge with us in rural areas.
There may be only 400 people who live permanently here, but around 40,000 visit a year, often for risky adventures.
They're outdoorsy people, they're out in the bush, they're hunting, they're tramping, they're diving, they're fishing.
The Stewart Island changes are part of a nationwide overhaul of air ambulance services. A report out in April finding nationally some aircraft are too old and not fit for purpose. The plan is to upgrade 9 emergency helicopters. And they're moving away from some plane models, including the Stewart Island ones, which will still be used for tourism. Alternatives struggle to land on Rakiura's small runway.
People were pretty worried and freaked out about it, frankly.
Overall, demand for air ambulances has gone up 22% in 5 years.
Sometimes having the local pilot, who's able to fly in those conditions, with a local healthcare provider, rather than a retrieval service coming from elsewhere, can provide a quicker and a better service for our patients.
After feedback from Rakiura residents, Te Whatu orders conceded there may need to be tailored solutions for the island. The agency declined One News interview requests, but in a joint statement with ACC said there's no immediate intention to stop use of the local plane service, adding keeping access to a fixed-wing plane here is now being prioritised. The plans will take 10 years to be rolled out. Sam Ollie, One News.
New Zealand has lost one of its greatest sailing identities. 2-time Sailor of the Year, former America's Cup tactician and commentator Peter Lester died on Friday night, aged 70. As Jacob Johnson reports, his death has left the local and international sailing community in shock.
Here we go. From expert analysis on air
New Zealand have already got their bower
to global triumphs on the water.
The New Zealand star performer is propaganda with Peter Lester at the helm.
Peter Lester is being remembered as one of the most respected voices in sailing, and not just on our shores.
I've fielded calls and messages from literally all over the world, and they remembered this fantastic guy who was blunt and to the point, incredibly honest and an amazing friend.
Lester became a prominent Kiwi sailor in the 70s, crowned New Zealand Yachtsman of the Year after winning the 1977 OK Dinghy Worlds at Takapuna Beach.
Beverly Roberts hands Peter Lester the victory fizz.
Going on to compete in a range of different classes and events across the globe.
He was part of the winning Admiral's Cup team in 1987, which really put New Zealand's sort of offshore sailing on the map.
He was a vital part of 3 America's Cup campaigns.
A bit like Stress City on board, I can tell you.
In 1992, stepping into the commentary box for the first time.
Must be a bit of a worry to the New Zealand Challenge that the Kiwis are struggling on the first beat.
Well, I'd always considered him my sort of teacher, really. We did 4 America's Cups together, we did 18 Korea Match Cups together, travelled together, shared digs, shared hotels, the whole thing. He was just the most calm. Where I wasn't, he was really all sorted out and organised, and it was just one of the thrills of my life.
Lester had a heart attack last week, but his death still came as a shock.
And I'd been speaking to him just the day before, and had a great chat with him, and he was explaining what had happened. And I thought, and everybody else did, that he'd come through.
A flag flown at half-mast outside the Royal New Zealand Yacht Squadron today, honouring his contribution to the sport.
Both for his achievements on the water, but also his achievements off the water as well, bringing sailing to the living rooms for a lot of people over the years through different America's Cups and different events that have been going on around the world.
Go, you good thing!
A legacy he says will live on. Jacob Johnson, One News.
A top bloke, moi mai rā Pete. A muri akine just ahead, initialled and voted on, but yet to be settled. What's in a letter obtained by One News as East Coast iwi Te Whānau a Apanui vents its anger when a $30 million treaty settlement isn't given the final sign-off. An embedded, but also a homecoming, why this Kiwi Army colonel's been shoulder-tapped to help oversee Papua New Guinea's 50th independence celebrations.
Wait. Is this an ad for Toyota?
Don't know, can't see it yet.
No, not this. Look, Toyotas, all of them. I reckon it's an ad. Definitely could be a Toyota ad.
If it is an ad, it's a pretty boring one.
You could have at least cleaned the Hilux for it.
I needed to wash Rodney.
We could be the first couple who never want to own a car to be in a car ad.
I want to own a car.
What? So what do you reckon?
Definitely an ad.
It can't be, Dad. We're on a test drive.
Well, it is a Toyota certified used CHR.
Well, that sounds like an ad.
Hydrogen car, miss. That's an unlikely coincidence.
Sure is. I hope they get my good side.
Are you flexing?
They'd want to show a happy family in a fully electric car, wouldn't they?
Dad, they would just use famous people.
Like Dame Lisa Carrington.
Stop being so cringe, Dad.
And Sir Dave Dobbin.
Come on, it's got to be a Toyota ad.
Nah, it's just New Zealand.
What's with the music then?
I grew up in old houses.
It may be filled with character,
Oh, that got me in the bum.
but the layout no longer works.
It's so segmented.
It's beautiful.
I just want out.
Can Paul
Wow.
lure them to a new home?
Certainly has character.
You're really trying to sway me, aren't you?
I'm doing my best.
Or will Alex wow with the Renault?
So transformational.
I'm stunned right now.
So, do you love it?
New Love It or List It New Zealand tonight on 1 and TVNZ Plus.
Dad, there was a massive triangular swirly thing right there.
The new series.
It just appeared one day, years ago, and I used it mainly to dump my rubbish in.
From the makers of Wellington Paranormal. Discover worlds of endless possibilities.
Do not let the cat out when the deadly laser beams are activated. Bad robot. Mummy man.
The new series Warren's Vortex starts Sunday, August 24th on 2 and TVNZ Plus.
At BK, $10.99 gets you this. More. More. More.
And it goes a little something
More?
like this.
Get a big old taste of everything with the Barbecue Rodeo King Sampler. All yours for $10.99.
Mistakes, mishaps, and misfortune love to show up unannounced. So save $100 on every new house, landlord, and comprehensive car insurance policy before they do. T's and C's apply. Tower. Forward thinking.
Window treatments for stylish curtains, blinds, louveroos, insect screens, shutters and awnings. And now save 40% off interior and exterior roller blinds for a limited time only. Just click on windowtreatments.co.nz.
And go! Just fill up at a participating Caltex, stack your pump discounts, and you could collect more savings on your next visit. Oh, there's another one. Getting quite good at this. Filling and saving. Feels good.
Have you ever had a crush that you wanted to act on? Can be our little secret. I have a bit of a crush.
Time to give in to all your fantasies. The Couple Next Door. New season streaming now, TVNZ Plus.
They're back on home turf.
Feeling a little bit nervous.
For their biggest adventure yet.
When?
Now, it's too hard already. Well, who knows what is about to happen here?
Tipping Point Australia Travel Guide Special tonight on 2 and TVNZ Plus.
Pokemano, welcome back. The government's U-turn on a major treaty settlement at the final hurdle has been called unprecedented. East Coast iwi Te Whānau a Apanui negotiated a unique sovereignty clause with the previous government and initialled the deal before the last election. But in a scathing letter obtained by One News, the iwi has told Paul Goldsmith his opposition to the clause could make it impossible to proceed. Our Māori Affairs correspondent Tiana Huri-Hanganui reports.
Te Whānau a Apanui, based along the east coast of the North Island, has been working towards a settlement for years.
This has been a 20-year plus issue for us.
It's now reached the final stage. The $30 million deal was initialled by the former Labour government and voted on by the people with nearly 97% in support. The only remaining step is for the current government to sign the deed.
I can't think of any time when a settlement has been reached, it's been initialled, it's been voted on by the iwi through their hapu, and everything's ready to go for the final signing, and then it's been held up by the Crown.
But that's exactly what's happened, because the deal includes a unique sovereignty clause. Both the Crown's view that Māori ceded sovereignty and the tribe's view that they didn't are recorded.
As a government, we're not prepared to go there, but we are, we want to find a way through.
This is unprecedented in my recollection and experience of treaty settlements.
In a letter released to One News under the Official Information Act, the iwi has told the minister that position makes it very difficult, if not impossible, to proceed to settlement.
The sovereignty clause in the Whānau Apanui's treaty settlement is probably one of the most important parts of that particular settlement.
Te Whānau a Apanui added adding it's disappointed the minister chose to talk publicly about the dispute at a recent select committee.
Frankly, we're not comfortable with that.
Something it says breached the terms of negotiation.
Te whanau Aponui made the point they don't want to have these conversations through the media, and we'll do our very best to carry on that way.
But you've already done that, Minister.
Well, I have to answer questions.
It's the first time a clause like it has been included in a settlement.
It would be a new approach taken about 2/3 of the way through the treaty settlements. That would, which fundamentally I don't think it's a helpful thing.
But does it change anything?
And well, that's all a matter of debate.
It doesn't do anything other than record two opposing views by two different parties. Doesn't create any legal obligation.
The government's position fracturing its relationship with the tribe.
Yes, I am worried, and I'm very keen to do my best to can rebuild that.
But that may prove difficult unless the Crown chooses to compromise. Te Aniwa Hurihanganui, One News.
The Green Party says it's leading the opposition by coming up with strong policies and setting the agenda. The party faithful have been meeting in Wellington for its annual general meeting this weekend. And while there were no specific announcement, both co-leaders spoke at length about growing the party ahead of the election next year so it can be in a position to lead the next government.
Very clearly, this chopping and changing between the legacy parties has not delivered the transformation that New Zealanders so desperately need. So that is why we are doing the work on the ground with New Zealanders to ensure that they know that better is entirely within our grasp.
Sitting at 12% in the last One News Varian poll, the party's popularity has remained stable over the past 18 months. Preparations are underway in Papua New Guinea to host armed forces from 10 countries next month for its 50th independence celebrations. A New Zealand Army colonel embedded in PNG's Defence Force is pulling it all together. As Pacific correspondent Barbara Drever reports, New Zealand's military partnerships are making a difference in times of rising geopolitical tension.
Colonel Duncan George has a lot on his plate.
We might need to move that one a little bit earlier.
He may be wearing a Kiwi Army uniform, but he works for PNG's Defence Force Chief, and he has a big mission on his hands.
This is the planning hub for the PNG Defence Force's contribution to the 50th anniversary of independence here. There's going to be a raft of events and also logistical support around the country.
And we're going to use those transport aircraft that are here from those three nations, Australia, New Zealand and France, to distribute humanitarian, anything humanitarian aid, anything the government of PNG needs.
10 armed forces from around the world will be on the ground, New Zealand pivotal to the aid drops.
And that will include both 40 Squadron Royal New Zealand Air Force and 3 Squadron with our NH90 helicopters.
Colonel Duncan George grew up in PNG, his father in the RNZAF, so being posted here is like coming home. He's one of 20 NZ Defence personnel embedded in Pacific militaries around the region. Another is Kiwi Pani Hoea. He says partnership with the PNG Defence Force is everything.
It's great. You see it in the eyes, right? Once they say, oh, I'm Kiwi, let's blow Kiwi, you want to talk with me, you want to talk with me, come. So we break those barriers almost instantly.
Partnership, I see, is the way forward for PNGDF now. And New Zealand, in terms of assisting us in that space, it's really important. It's added a lot of value.
Our Defence Force also taking part in reciprocal training exercises in PNG.
I think it's a reflection of the importance that New Zealand places on partnership with the Pacific, and New Zealand seeing itself as a Pacific nation first and foremost.
As geopolitical tension rises, PNG's a strong ally for New Zealand.
It's an important country for the Indo-Pacific region. It's an important country within our Pacific Island Forum nations as well. And that is because you are a bridge between Asia and also the Pacific.
We stand shoulder to shoulder representing our two people.
Building strong partnerships are the key to countering pressing threats. Barbara Drever, One News.
Me utonu mai, stay with us. What a hobby and what a discovery. A rare find for this Kiwi amateur volcano observer, a long way from his day job working in IT. Plus, the stan or obsessive fan can't wait. How long since audiences here have jumped to the left and stepped to the right, with the Rocky Horror Picture Show returning. And
It's been a chilly weekend with cold southerly winds blasting up the country and showers being fed into southern and eastern areas. Conditions begin to ease through Monday as the system to our east begins to pull away. I'll be back after sport with how the weather is shaping up at your place for the week ahead.
Morning, sis.
Well?
Sounds like you need a distraction.
Oh, God, please distract me.
Things are heating up.
Well, hello.
Mind on the job.
And it's not just the water.
Death by sea creature is very, do not say fishy.
Well, I didn't kill anyone.
She's back on the case.
I don't want to be called a murder woman.
People call you that.
And causing ripples all over again.
Is everyone you meet just a potential murder suspect?
Yes.
New My Life is Murder, tonight on 1 and TVNZ+.
He was your friend, but you killed him. Why?
You need to get Daniel Brennan back in prison.
More